All right, this method is called A-Lactic Intervals. Now, as the name implies, the goal here is to train the A-Lactic energy system. Now, because this is the most explosive energy system, the key here is maximum intensity and maximum speed, which means we have to go for a relatively short period of time. Typically, you're talking 5 to 10 seconds. If our goal is to work maximum A-Lactic power, we're going to be more in that 5-second range. If our goal is A-Lactic capacity, our goal will be more to hit that 10-second range. Again, the most important thing here is 5 to 10 seconds of maximum speed and maximum intensity. Now, as far as exercise selection is concerned, really a variety of general and sport-specific exercises can be used depending on the goal. Now, if you're using a generalized exercise, I typically prefer to use something where there's low impact so we can get those maximum speeds at maximum intensities without doing a bunch of pounding and without putting a bunch of stress on the joints. So the vertical climber works great for that. If you're talking about a specific exercise, then really it depends on the sport. A team sport athlete, for example, you could certainly do sprints or explosive jumps or bounds. For a combat athlete, you could do pad work or bag work, those sorts of things. So really there's a variety of things you can use as long as you're talking maximum speed, maximum intensity. Now what we're going to do again is 5 to 10 seconds of maximum speed, maximum intensity, and then equally important to that is the recovery period. And what we're focusing on here is teaching the athlete or teaching the client how to recover quickly from these high intensity exercises, these high intensity work periods. So particularly for sports, of course, this is one of the most important things in conditioning is being able to maintain your speed and power over time. And this method is going to be a huge component of developing that because that's exactly what you're doing. So what we're looking for here, 5 to 10 seconds of maximal work, followed by a 1 to 2 minute period of recovery. In the first few repetitions, you might only need 60 seconds. As they start to fatigue, you're going to want to increase that recovery period. Now again, you can see here we're using Morpheus. During the active work period, we're going to be targeting just maximum intensity, maximum speed. We're not too concerned with what the heart rate looks like. But we are focused on is that 60-second to 90 or 2-minute recovery period. Our goal during that period is to see them drop their heart rate as quickly as possible to facilitate recovery. And what you'll see is the faster they can drop their heart rate, the quicker they're going to be able to recover. In other words, the more they're going to be able to do over time. So what we'll do here is we'll give her a 3, 2, 1 count. We'll give her 10 seconds. You can see she's already in the 150 range, so we're going to expect to see that continue to go up over those 5 to 10 seconds. But what we should see is during that recovery interval, that 1 to 2 minutes, we should see her drop her heart rate back into the recovery zone, ideally back into the middle of the recovery zone. And the more she can do that, the better off her conditioning is going to be. So again, we'll give her a 3, 2, 1. She'll do 10 seconds, and then we'll pay attention to the recovery period. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go. And we're looking again 10 seconds, maximum speed, maximum intensity, with good technique, of course. Very good. Okay, and now she's all the way up in the red zone there. So we're really going to want to focus on having her controlling her breathing, slowing her pace down as much as possible, and then again, bringing the heart rate down as quickly as possible. So you can see here she's starting to drop. There's always a little bit of lag in the first 10 seconds. Really focusing on getting that breathing all the way full exhales, making sure she's relaxing her musculature as much as she can, and driving it back down into the blue zone as quickly as you can. So she's back into the green here. Okay, and again, 1 to 2 minutes of recovery should be the goal. If the person is recovering more slowly, you're going to extend that rest period all the way up to 2 minutes and potentially even more if necessary. If they're recovering very quickly, maybe it's the first couple repetitions, then you can slow that rest period down. But the goal here again is to get them back into the blue as quickly as possible while maintaining this active state. Because most sports, they're explosive and then there's active rest or in between, they're just not moving as quickly. But very rarely is it a explosive and then just sit there. So this explode and repeat, you can see here she's back towards the bottom of the green and hitting the blue. So for her, we want to keep extending the rest period until she gets back down to the blue. Slow it down even further if we have to. Really reinforce the respiratory component to it to slowing her heart rate down. And again, you can see there she's dropping back into the blue. Typically, once they get in the blue, I'd like to give them at least 30 seconds in that blue, in that pacing before we repeat. So you can see here she's back down to 129, 130. And then we'd be able to repeat this, so that's good. Okay, so again, the key here is that maximum speed intensity for that 5 to 10 seconds, and then really focusing on recovering from that as quickly as possible. The first couple repetitions, you might see them drop quickly. The more they do, the longer it may take. So really you can let the rest period be dictated by their recovery. If you can get them down into this 120, 130 range, That is really the goal, is back down into that blue range as quick as possible. Typically, if you can sustain that for 30 seconds, then you're going to repeat that. The goal here is quality of work. Okay, this should not necessarily be a high fatigue type activity. The goal is to sustain power over time. Your goal is not to just make them as tired as you can. So again, a variety of exercises can be used. This is A-Lactic Intervals. It's a hugely important and effective method for improving sports performance across a wide range of sports, because it's essential to driving the ability to maintain your speed, maintain your explosiveness over time, and that's why it's so important to improving conditioning.